Hello everyone, Scott J. Way from Crucible Custom Props here, Nerfworks Lab and all the forums. Another day, another blaster. This one belongs to Tom. This is a Todd's Costumes New Hope DL44 blaster replica that I get. When I get them pretty much factory fresh, and then I do a bunch of work on them, taking everything down, stripping, repainting, shaping, milling, all kinds of stuff to make them look more accurate to the original prop. So one of the first things I do, maybe not necessarily in this order, but let's talk about this. Is the first thing I'll show you is the crossbar weathering. So it comes as a steel bar. I sand off all of the anodizing or whatever's on there, and then I stencil it with my stencils that I've had created. I made these. My wife and I made these stencils. After hours and hours of looking at the original prop and getting the stencils just right. In fact, there's more detail on the stencil than a vinyl cutter is capable of cutting. Some of the things are so small, they're cut, but they're just impossible to transfer over. So you have to still do some of the tiny, tiny details by hand. But the stencil is super, super detailed. It's just that there's a limitation on the vinyl cutter to cut some of the fine details, or for you to be able to apply them. So anyway, the stencil is pretty nice, and that's what I've been using for my builds. So past that, what's next? So the scope, Todd's costume scope, I've probably said this in videos before, this is the best replica so far right now. I did a lot of measurements for Todd from my original accurate scopes, and I also lent him one of my accurate scopes. The result is this replica has full optics inside, has crosshairs, as you can see. It doesn't focus. For some reason they can't get it to focus, but I think for the money you pay for this replica scope, I think it's about as good as you can expect. Outwardly it's perfect to an accurate replica scope. It's made out of all the right materials. But I guess to get that extra optical precision, it's going to probably cost a lot more money for them to dial that in. In any case, what I do here, they come deep hot blued. I strip the bluing off in various stages and re-blue it, so it gives it a more patinaed look, more like it's in a 100-year-old scope instead of brand new. I do the same thing with the flash hider, which comes deep black blued. I strip that off and then I re-blue it to give it some patina. Next thing I do is add the accurate Mauser stamping. So this is the serial number from the original Han Solo. Add the crown over U, the serial number. Even have the military acceptance proof over here on this side, as well as the new type safety and the serial number there. So I add those to my builds as well. I mill the extractor detail into the top of the bolt, and the entire bolt top face is milled as well. And then I paint the entire blower as the original prop was painted as well. And then I weather it off in areas, and then re-blue over those weathered areas because the gun was pretty much still blued steel underneath, except for wherever the mystery disc was. Now Todd's used to make this too small, and he used to drill a hole in them. That is no longer the case. It's the correct size, and it's in the correct spot, except for he still mills them. And I kind of wish that they was just left alone, so it could just be a painted detail, masked off painted detail like it's supposed to be. But it still works. The only thing is the Todd's, it looks like a milled spot, which it's really just a masked off part where a Greebly was, and the adhesives had stripped the bluing from underneath it. And that's about it. But there it is. This is the Todd's Greebly. It came like this. They use a really strong adhesive, so I didn't even take that off. I just left it right there. Everything works. This one is a static prop, does not have electronics in it, which I think for most people is really good. I personally lately have been preferring static props for some things. I might have one with electronics and then the rest would be static. I kind of got overkill having everything having the same electronics that kind of serve no purpose for me. But I'm stoked about it, and it looks pretty good. One of the things I noticed so far is Todd's has this knob down pretty much correct. The DEC has a little bit different profile. Most of the DECs look different from run to run, but this one looks right to me. And I think Todd's also has the correct dome head screws up here on the scope rings. So yeah, there's a lot of improvements over the time. Todd's used to have these uprights super thick, but he finally fixed those, and so it looks like it's supposed to. So yeah, this is unless you're putting this kit on a real Mauser, this is about as accurate as you're going to get with a Denix or MGC. So it's a really good kit, and there it goes. Oh, by the way, this was one of the new Denixes with the logo already gone, so I didn't have to do that, thank God, because I really don't like doing that. But it did have a Denix logo stamped in here, which I have filled, and that's about it. So there it is, guys. Thanks for looking. Sorry for the focusing and stuff. I'm still getting used to using this phone as my camera. It does 4K, which I like for the resolution, but it has trouble tracking the focus sometimes. So I'm going to kind of work on that. Thanks for looking, guys. Next video is a live fire Han Solo.